Hello everybody. The Warriors bench finally put it all together for the first time this year. This is 4 long wings and Jordan Poole, so they can play defense by switching every screen as long as it doesn't involve Jordan Poole. The defense is a work in progress. Jonathan Kuminga is guarding Vassell, and McDermott lifts up, and Jordan Poole signals to Kuminga that he wants Kuminga to switch onto the cutter, and the message does not come through, so Jordan Poole is probably yelling it again. McDermott temporarily ends up free on the arc. Kuminga consistently does these cartoon-like double takes where there's like a giant three-dimensional exclamation mark appearing over his head, but he's so athletic that he can recover quickly even when he loses track of his man. The Spurs bench lineup isn't together enough to punish Kuminga for these mistakes. I love this play from Kuminga. We've seen it a million times before. The Warriors throw the ball into the post, and then you go and set a screen for the nearest shooter. And it looks like that's what's happening now, but Kuminga keeps his eyes open, and he sees that Anthony Lamb never stops running, and so he just whizzes by everyone. And most importantly, Kuminga sees the cut. He throws a beautiful pass, and you might say, doesn't Anthony Lamb have a dunk here? And I would say, yeah, maybe so, but things are moving pretty fast. Maybe he was doing his best Ben Simmons impersonation. He notices 2 large men running at him, which means somebody's free somewhere. There's actually Moody over here, and I think Jordan Poole's also open, so he has his pick. Throws it over to Moody. Swish. Steph on the bench over here. You can see him go through a whole run of emotions on this play. Sees that it was a great find, and Anthony Lamb is about to throw it down, and he raises his hand saying, "Focaccia, I approve." Lamb kicks it out, and Steph, you can see him suddenly go into puzzlement like, what the? I'm not sure I can endorse that. And he lowers his hand, and then once the ball goes through, he says, all right, I can endorse this again. Focaccia. Jonathan Kuminga is playing energetic on-ball defense. The ball gets kicked out, and his man beats Kuminga backdoor, but it's only half a step, and Kuminga reacts quickly enough that he's now trailing the play really closely, and so even though the man has a clear path to the basket, he's worried Kuminga will block the ball into the next city, so he ends up just bailing out of the layup. Poole sets a pin down for Kuminga. The Spurs handle this by switching, so now Kuminga is being guarded by the smaller Richardson, so the ball gets swung back to JK. The Spurs daring him to make this shot, and Kuminga says, dare accepte. Simple pick and roll for Josh Richardson. Moses Moody thinks it's a switch. Moody's now going with the screener. JaMychal Green thinks Moody's going to fight over the screen, so he stepped back. The Warriors just get lucky. Look at all the dirty work being done by the Warriors here. Jeremy Lamb boxing out a body. Jonathan Kuminga backs in and gets a body on Devin Vassell. That is some good boxing out, but unfortunately there's no one who's rebounding the ball, so the ball actually bounces off the floor, and Charles Bassey gets his hand in there and pokes the ball out, and Jordan Poole got a bit of his swag back. I think being in the starting lineup gave him a little extra energy, and he was more aggressive all game. Kabang. I like Kuminga's mentality here. I think he sees himself as an alpha defender. Here he wants to be the person guarding the ball, and when there's a handoff, he immediately calls that he's going to be the one to switch onto Vassell. He stays with Vassell, and Vassell wants the challenge, and he ISOs JK. JK doesn't seem to like that, so he gets extra close to Vassell, which is maybe not what you want. Even so, Kuminga flashes his superior athleticism by recovering and just cutting off Vassell's drive and forcing Vassell to make this pretty gorgeous Wiggins-style play where he spins this way and then hops back for the jumper. That's pretty nice. Here's more dogged Kuminga defense. He starts off on Jeremy Sochan, but he's going to have a hard screen put on him, and then the screener's going to roll fast. So Kuminga insta-switches onto the diving Roby. Good alert play. JK gets a little bit out of position on McDermott, which gives McDermott space to backdoor cut him. This time JK is alert to it. Good off-ball awareness, and he stays with McDermott all through his backdoor cut. JK starts off this play guarding Roby, but this is going to turn into a stagger screen. And JK is the alpha defender, and he really wants to end up guarding the ball handler when he comes out the other side. So he positions himself to be able to jump out, meets the ball handler on the other side, and the ball handler says, well, that's it for my ball handling days. Carry on, my brothers. And he dishes it off to Roby, and they run the play away from Jonathan Kuminga. This is what I've been calling a dive pop action. One player is going to dive to the basket, another player gets a cross screen to pop out for catch and shoot. And Kuminga's got the ball, and he's reading this play. Jeremy Lamb is the diver. McDermott here is trying to call for a switch, but the whole process is too slow. As he's filling out the paperwork for the transfer, Lamb just busts out completely into the open, and I love how JK sees it and puts that pass right on the numbers, and it's a layup. Somehow the Spurs completely mess up their coverage on this play, and Roby ends up covering nobody, which means that Jonathan Kuminga ends up being covered by nobody, and he recognizes this quickly. You can see him gathering up steam for the gigantic dunk, and full respect to Doug McDermott, who does not make the practical business decision to evacuate the premises. He actually goes up to challenge this. Kuminga in midair has to decide, I'm just going to turn this right-handed hammer dunk into a left-handed sweeping layup. And Steph over here, do you think he noticed the nice switch of the left hand, right hand? It's great to see the bench be a positive force for once. They played together with some good teamwork, had lots of hustle and intensity, and they were playing against the B squad of a pretty bad Spurs team. But at this point of the season, we take all victories and all signs of optimism. Poole throwing out a beautiful series of moves here. Drives right, behind the back dribble going left. The Poole's going to throw the ball ahead between them, splits the defenders, goes up with two hands, and then in mid-air swaps to the left-handed layup. Wow. And let's do a quick celebration audit. Wiggins, appreciative. Wiseman, appreciative. Moody, getting out of his seat with his usual angry man celebration. The new guy, Ryan Rollins, not going for his I'm a big Y celebration, but he is definitely flashing some enthusiasm. And the highlight, of course, is Steph. Poole did so many moves, including the hand switching, that it was impossible for Steph to imitate all the moves, so he just decided to average everything into this funky version of the 100-foot Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio. Looking good, Steph.